This is the Sikkim Podcast, presented by your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Online at alansamuelsdcj.com. The Sikkim Podcast is a production of Baylor Athletics. Now, here are your hosts, Brooke Bednarz and the voice of the Bears, John Morris.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Sikkim Podcast, a production of Baylor Athletics. Hey, we're glad you're with us again this week. John Morris, Brooke Bednarz, and Brooke, we are glad to have with us Cody Gougler today, Associate AD for Resource Development, head of the Bear Foundation. Cody, welcome to the Sikkim Podcast.
Thank you very much. It's a treat to be with you today. I've been watching y'all do this or listening to the podcast for several months now, and just to be a part of it's really special, so thank you.
Okay, so this is a theme now. If you've listened to some of the previous ones, anyone that you particularly liked or stood out from any of the others?
I really, obviously, just for personal reasons, I love Doug Smith's podcast. It was just so cool to hear y'all really dig deep with him and just get the whole snapshot of the career and what he's meant to Baylor. But, here's some personal stories too. But I think the one last week was Marcus Sudbury. And so for the last probably hour or so, I've been working on my voice because
Marcus has that radio voice, doesn't he?
I think it's referred to in your line of work as like the VOG or like the voice of God.
Yes,
he's got like that voice of God. Like, I just want to listen to him for another hour.
That's right.
So we'll see how I do.
Very good. You got the voice. You got it.
So far, so good.
Well, appreciate you being with us. Thanks very much. You mentioned Doug Smith and the Bear Foundation. You worked with him for a while, and Doug has ridden off into the sunset in retirement. We wish him nothing but the best. But boy, what he established at the Bear Foundation and what you are continuing, you and everyone in there are continuing, it is just remarkable.
Doug Smith I've never met anyone like him before, and it doesn't have to be in the industry, just a specific individual. He's just so unique, and he just pours into people. There's just this natural way about how he goes about doing things where he just makes people feel extremely comfortable, and I can easily see why that transpired into all the success that Baylor's had, specifically in the Bear Foundation. And he really built this thing, through some difficult times, through some really awesome times as we transitioned over to McLean Stadium. And he deserves all the credit for where the Bear Foundation is today. To be with him the last 3 years has been a treat for many reasons. He's funny. He's fun to be around. He's loving. He's caring. But just to have him as a mentor is not many people in our industry will get that opportunity. He was the fundraiser of the year in college athletics twice, which is unheard of. And so he's not just a Baylor legend; he's a collegiate athletics fundraising legend. So a very neat opportunity for all of us to be around him.
In a little bit, we're going to dive into your background and what led you here. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you why you wanted to work for Baylor. Why was it important that you come here and call Baylor home?
I probably would answer that two different ways. I think 3 years ago, coming to Baylor was just naturally different. It was a great opportunity for the career. I'm from Texas. So I grew up in Huntsville, not too far from Waco. So that was in play as well, to be around my family again, moving from Colorado. And just the amazing facilities and the sport programs, just the Big 12 conference, it was just a great step. And obviously I recognized at that time, the faith component of the university as also being a bonus, but didn't feel that. And now 3 years later, I would say what Baylor has done for me personally is just that personal faith walk. That has been the coolest thing about being here. We've done some really awesome, incredible things on and off the field and court. Our sport programs are competing at the highest level. We've had amazing success. But Baylor to me just is just the most unique setup that you could be around at this level in college athletics when you can bring that faith component into it. I probably wouldn't have said that 3 years ago, which is also just a testament to what Baylor does for you. It makes you comfortable in your own skin and where you're at in your personal faith walk as well.
Well, I think something, John, I didn't know it when I started here a year ago. And so maybe other people don't, but we talk a lot about the faith aspect and how it's part of the 4 pillars. And a lot of people, I think, they think that means our work with the student athletes and that they have the opportunity to, dive deeper into their faith and they're given those resources. But I mean, we start every staff meeting with a devotional and we take the time and our bosses talk with us about God. It comes up in conversations. We talk about it on the podcast. And so I think that that's something that is important to note because maybe not everyone listening knew that about Baylor athletics.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good, not that we take it for granted, but we know that in-house. Cody, we're involved in a men's Bible study ministry on Monday mornings that John Maurer leads, and the women do the same. Yeah, so that's a real aspect of Baylor athletics that I appreciate, and I know you do too also.
And I'll tell you a specific example. Last year was fortunate to travel with the men's basketball program to Gainesville for the big matchup, the Big 12 SEC matchup with Florida. And we had some donors with us on the trip. And so one of the neat things that Coach Drew and Coach Tang and the rest of the staff allow us to do is to come into the pregame meal, and I think you were there, come into the pregame meal and then watch film study and, watch the team get ready for the game. And so that's what you would expect. I remember for like 45 minutes, we were on a devotional and we were singing songs.
Right.
Jerome Tang got up there and led us in a song worship service, and we had a motivational speaker come in, and so here we are getting ready for this huge game. We were starting to really get hot and be recognized nationally for where we were at as a program. And we're hours from the game, and instead of going over X's and O's, we may have done that in 20 minutes or so. It was more about pouring into these student athletes and spiritually and motivationally. That was just really cool to see.
I love that.
Yeah, that's Baylor basketball right there. And it's not just basketball. It's other sports that do the same thing. But that's a great example. You were there to be a part of that on that road trip. Your background, you're a baseball player at your alma mater of Southeastern Louisiana. I'm going to say an outstanding former Lion student athlete. Fair?
I guess that's fair.
Right.
I don't.
Okay,
you
can brag on yourself.
Yeah.
I took pride in doing the best that I could. And whether that was academically or on the diamond, but. It was a great experience, one that I would never trade for anything else. Still in touch with my coaches to this date. I probably would not be here at Baylor if my head baseball coach at that time, J.R. Teagues, who ultimately became the athletic director at Southeastern, he hired me in my first ever job there in athletics. And so that started the clock for me, I guess, in this part of the industry. And Hammond, America is what that part of Louisiana is referred as. It was a great place to go to school, a different culture for sure, especially being a kid from East Texas. But, any chance that I get to go back and see those folks, it's a special time.
You mentioned your first job. Tell us a little bit about that and how did it propel you into the position that you are now? Yeah,
my undergraduate was in sports management. And I didn't really know what that meant or what I wanted to do with that. But I knew that I wanted to be around sports. I wanted to be around game day. I sort of, as I developed in my undergraduate, I decided that I'd like to go to graduate school as well, and went for business for the MBA. And as I got into that program, I sort of shifted my vision for what I wanted to do. I really wanted to be in business somewhere, and didn't really think that I had a future in working in sports. And at that time, I was about halfway through grad school, serving as the graduate assistant for the University Advancement Office. So there was some fundraising exposure. And my college baseball coach, he left the Diamond to go to the office and take the athletic director's role at Southeastern, as I was telling you earlier. And it was just God's timing. The girl, the lady who was overseeing the development office for athletics at that time, who actually a couple weeks ago was just named the deputy AD at Incarnate Word.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, she left at that same time to go work at Ole Miss. And so, Jay called me up one night. I was probably studying or doing whatever you do in graduate school, and he just said, "Hey, I don't really know. I'm new to this. I don't really know what all this entails, but I just know I want to surround myself with people that I want to go to work with every day that are going to work hard." And I was like, "Okay, so who are you referencing? Do you need me to reference someone?" And he was like, "Well, we've got this opportunity in the development office. Are you interested?" And that kind of sparked the emotion of, everybody wants to be wanted. And so I was like, okay, I played for him for 4 years and he didn't kick me out of the program. So maybe he'll let me work for him for a little while. And, a couple weeks later we made the transition and I accepted the position and I just give him all the credit. I didn't know what I was doing or didn't know what, if you talk about what the Bear Foundation does today, I would not have been able to explain that at that point in time. So it was a very unique situation where I was given a chance probably for something I did not meet the requirements for, probably on paper, but he believed in me, and I'm very grateful for that.
When it comes to value and great customer service, you can count on us. Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. As a Customer First Award of Excellence winner, our customers always receive exceptional service, and during the Big Finish event, you save thousands on every car, truck, and SUV. Plus, most vehicles feature 0% financing. The Big Finish event. Now at your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels.
Whether on the field or cheering from home, Du Bois Furniture is proud to support the Baylor Bears. If your Bear Cave needs updating, Du Bois Furniture is here to help. With over 59 years of our family serving yours, let our experienced sales team help you find exactly what you want. We specialize in custom upholstery, stunning dining rooms, elegant bedrooms, gorgeous leather, and top quality mattresses. Come see us in Waco and Temple or visit us online at DuBoisFurniture.com. Du Bois Furniture, where beautiful homes happen.
Now, back to the Sikkim Podcast, presented by your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat.
How long were you there?
I was there right around 2 years.
Okay, so then 2 years and then the United States Air Force Academy, correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yep.
So that's a unique, and Baylor, we talk about the faith aspect, but the Air Force and any one of the military academies obviously brings a lot of prestige, and that's a unique opportunity to be able to work there. So what was that like for you, and what all were you doing there?
It was really special. I think after a year and a half or so, I decided I was going to be fully committed to this industry. I loved being around game day. I loved what I was doing. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to grow more. And so I started to just sort of view the market and just see what else was out there. And I'm very grateful for Jay for letting me do that and be open about that. And there were several opportunities that came up, and Air Force was one of them. And quite honestly, there wasn't any magic that happened or anything that I put on my resume that says, hey, you got to come get me from Southeastern Louisiana. But in the hiring process or in the interview process, as y'all know, Mitch Mann, we hit it off really well, who, was here at Baylor the last couple of years. But Mitch and I hit it off really well. I went up there and visited the academy and was blown away by Colorado Springs. And I really, again, didn't really know what I was getting myself into at that time with how special that experience was going to be. But my role specifically at Air Force was to just come in and develop the annual fund for athletics. It was under Mitch's leadership in the past few years was created and was established, and my role was just to come in and try to take it to the next step, next level. It was called the Falcon Pride Club. We had 5 people on our staff and 27 different sports at the academy, from fencing to you name it, lacrosse. 27 different sports. Unbelievable. I still can't tell you how you score in fencing, or would never be able to, tread water with those guys in water polo. Yeah. From water polo to wrestling to rifle, it was awesome. So we split all those sports up, and our job was just to go out and speak to alumni, speak to parents, speak to current supporters, and just continue to generate resources. And what an awesome story that was, to be like, hey, these cadet athletes, these young men and women are, they have an elite opportunity for academics while they're here, but they are committing to, going out and serving our country. So let's give them the best experience that we can through the Falcon Pride Club, and that was a pretty easy pitch, I guess you could say, for people that wanted to invest into that.
How different is that, doing that job at a military academy compared to what you did at Southeastern Louisiana and then what you're doing now at Baylor? I would think just being a military academy, there might be some differences there.
Well, we can probably start, and I'm probably going to catch some flack if there's any Southeastern people listening, but just
we'll be sure to send it to them.
Yeah.
I had to very quickly fix my grammar.
Oh, really?
And I'm joking when I say that, but very disciplined structure. The people that you are reaching out to, most of them are either currently serving in the military, that was a cadet athlete at the Air Force Academy, or you're reaching out to people that are just extremely devoted to the military aspect of what we were doing there. So there was a standard that we as a staff needed to rise to, as far as our professionalism, how we delivered, the pitch per se, how we worked with our coaches. The things that we were raising money for were, for the most part, completely intangible. So you had to be able to tell that story of what, these cadet athletes are going through. And it was a special experience. And so I would say the difference between that and Southeastern was, and I would compare Southeastern or most places, in the annual fund in college athletics, there's a heavy component to just being transactional, as far as, I do make a donation or I do support to potentially have the opportunity to get tickets or parking and all these other things. That's more of a business-oriented setup, and this was completely different, where we were totally bought into the mission of what we were doing at the academy, which was really special to be a part of.
If you need a trailer, Flat Rock Trailers has got you covered. From light-duty single-axle utility trailers to the Big Tex tandem duals. We also carry a full line of enclosed cargo trailers. Need a motorcycle trailer? We've got them. Need a dump trailer? We've got the largest selection in the state. Oilfield trailers? We carry a full line of Big Tex trailers to handle all your needs. Trailer repairs? We repair all makes and models. We'll even rent you a trailer if you need to use one for a day. Flat Rock Trailers, your #1 source for all your trailer needs. Find us at flatrocktrailers.com.
T&G can, and here's why. To say my wife and I have a lot to clean is an understatement. So we go to T&G Chemical, where the pros know what cleaning solutions to use and give us detailed instructions on exactly how to use them. We never got that kind of advice from any other stores. And the prices at T&G are great. From general household cleaners to odor control solutions for our pets. We go to T&G Chemical and Supply. That's why. T&G Chemical and Supply. That's why.
You're listening to the Sick'em Podcast, a production of Baylor Athletics. Here again are Brooke Bednarz and John Morris.
We're visiting with Cody Gougler, Associate AD for Resource Development, Baylor Athletics, Baylor Bear Foundation. The Bear Foundation, just unprecedented growth. We've talked about that, about what Doug Smith did, and others really before Doug got going. Mitch Mann was in here for a while. Mitch went back to Colorado. You stayed in Texas, which is good. We're not good that we lost Mitch, but glad that you stayed here, met your wife here, and married. Tell everybody about Kelsey, a first-grade teacher.
So Kelsey and I, we met in Colorado when I was at the academy, and so let me just give Mitch, man, before we get into that, give him all the credit, and I promise you this is going to make sense. But so Mitch, we didn't know each other before he brought me to Air Force, but then we hit it off really well. We became really good friends. He's almost like a big brother to me. And he took me under his wing there, and he cared about me as a person, not just an employee. And so we spent a lot of time together on the golf course, outside of the academy, just really becoming really good friends. And Mitch and I were we coached. He was the head coach, and, of course, I was his assistant coach for a Special Olympics soccer team in Colorado Springs. And there was a tournament in Grand Junction, Colorado, one weekend, and long story short, we go up there, and of course our vision is to win the tournament.
Right.
No excuses, and we did. We won the tournament.
Nice.
We got first place. But one of the moms on the team took us out to dinner after the tournament, and just pulled me to the side after dinner, and just said, just straight up, just skipped all the fluff. And
right.
Hey, are you single?
And you're like,
I'm like, all right, this could get awkward.
Yeah.
And so, she just said, there's this girl that, went to school up in Greeley at Northern Colorado that is back in the Springs now. She's a teacher, and y'all are probably pretty close in age or whatever. I think y'all would really like each other, and so I'm going to set y'all up on a blind date.
this is just a mom on the team.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, well.
Wow.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So she gives me Kelsey's number, and that's just kind of, all right, I don't know how I feel about just randomly reaching out to someone. So I texted her, of course, it's 2015 at this time. Everybody just texts messages anyways. And she didn't respond for 10 days.
Oh,
Yeah.
10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
Fair on her part. If I got a text, I'd be like, I'd be calling that mom. Who is this?
So I'm like, okay. At this point, Mitch is like all in, like my business. Like, hey, did you get a text message back this day? Each and every day. And after like the second or third day, I was pretty much over it. But she did text me back 10 days later, and so I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to just give this a shot. And so, tying Mitch in, I just said, hey, is there a place that we could, that I should go that, she would be impressed with? And he was like, there's this place in downtown Colorado Springs. It's like below ground level. It's like you're in a subway station. It's really cool. It was called the Rabbit Hole. And so anyways, here I am, taking – Kelsey shows up to my house, very chivalrous on my part. I asked her to come to my house. So hindsight's, I guess, always 20/20. But so we're on our way, and we get to the Rabbit Hole, and we're sitting there, and we're having dinner. I'm super nervous. She was extremely beautiful, and I thought we were hitting it off really well. And she got up to go to the restroom, so I'm kind of sitting there, trying to. All right, what am I going to say next? Or, is this even going well? And all of a sudden, here comes Mitch.
Oh.
At the restaurant.
Walking up to me
Great.
at the table with his now wife, Miranda. Mm-hmm. And they were sitting over on the other side of the restaurant and didn't tell me they were watching me the entire time.
They were. That's the Mitch I know.
Yeah,
That's right.
And so he came up and put my arm around me and told me I was doing a great job. Keep it together.
At least they waited till she went to the restroom.
So that's my funny story that I like to tell about how Kelsey and I met. And then, one thing led to another, and we got married in 2017 after I had already moved to Waco to work at Baylor for Mitch, and so sort of convinced her, and she bought in and ultimately, without even knowing what her personal job was going to be, and she was a teacher in Colorado, and she ended up getting a first grade teaching job at Spring Valley Elementary down here in Hewitt, and has been at the same school the entire time. I mean, she loves it. So we're just really blessed to be here. We love being here, and it's a wonderful story to tell.
Well, clearly the first date went well.
It did.
Yeah.
And we'll give you credit because right now, you said 2015, everyone texts. Everyone also, there's dating apps and all that stuff. And so having her come to your house, that was actually kind of a nice thing,
Yeah,
that way.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it was all. That's all good.
I'm still not sure what I was thinking there, but it did work out.
Yeah. Well, it's better than if you were already the random stranger who
That's true.
got her number and texted her. So now at least she was meeting you on your ground.
Brooke, let's follow up and get Kelsey's version.
Yes, I would love that.
Her
we'll call
going
her
to
in.
his
Yeah.
house there.
Kelsey will
the
tell
first day.
you that I had an extra Texan twang to my accent that day.
Oh, yeah.
She has since figured out since then I actually don't sound that country. So
Yeah.
I must have been trying to impress her and have my cowboy boots on. But
There you go.
anyways, Kelsey, love her to death. She's amazing. She supports me and all my dreams and aspirations, and we're opposite people. She was not huge into sports, and I'm like, okay, like let's watch anything that we can. Sports kind of guy, and so it was a marriage meant to be, and just extremely grateful for just what she puts up with me for on a daily basis.
So at what point did we call that mom and say thank you?
They were at our wedding.
There you go.
So she saw it all the way through, and she is not shy about taking complete credit for the marriage.
That's
It's a great
wonderful.
story.
It is.
Great story. The Bear Foundation, as I mentioned, unprecedented success, $19.5 million raised for student-athlete scholarships this year. That's a huge number. I told you I remember when we topped $1 million for the first time, and that was a big deal, let me tell you, to get to 7 digits. But now it's $19.5 million is the number this year. In this environment, in a pandemic, how different have things been, and how generous have Baylor folks been in this climate?
Yeah, I know we've talked about it before. The $19.5 million, that was through 31 May of this year. So, just if you can imagine, usually between March, April, and May each year, that's a big part of the year because the deadline to make your gifts is coming up for the upcoming year. And so, we were all working remotely, and I can vividly remember a conversation where we were going back and forth on, do we even send an email that says, this is what your balance is? Will you continue to support us? Or, we care about you. We love you. We hope you're okay. Stay safe. All those things. Or do we just totally, and when you talk to other schools in the Big 12, everybody was in the same boat. Like, I'm not sure what we're going to do. So we really did. We really did pray about it. We fought about it probably. How are we going to approach this? And ultimately, we put together a messaging package, through probably 6 weeks in April and May, and just put it out there. And the response was incredible. The Reunited Relief Initiative was what we were sort of tailoring things around. You can make a gift outside of your Bear Foundation membership just to support student athletes, or you could, pay your Bear Foundation membership. And lo and behold, we get to the end of May, and we were expecting probably to finish in the 18s, maybe. And we get to 19.5, which was like a $700,000 surplus versus what we were budgeted for the year. And I know our staff worked really hard on that, but ultimately the credit goes to our Bear Foundation members. They've answered the bell year after year. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before, and just the gratitude that we have for our Bear Foundation members is to the point where we can't really describe it. It's just gratefulness.
I think this is the perfect time to just say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I can't say thank you enough.
Absolutely.
But think about that. I mean, nobody would have given a second thought if you went backwards a little bit this year. Think about all the businesses, especially all the nonprofits that have gone backwards and done good to hold steady.
Sure.
But you grew and had a surplus during this time this year. Yeah,
it just, again, goes back to, you cast a vision and you hope people will buy in. They are completely bought in. And I think there was, each year is going to present unique challenges. At least at that point in time, I think there was some uncertainty about, will everyone be able to go to a football game?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Is there going to be a limited capacity? So we sort of were able to not necessarily use that as an advantage, but I think there was still that hope, that, hey, take care of my Bear Foundation membership. We're going to have football season. We're going to get there.
Right.
And so all those things came together, and it was sort of the perfect storm to get there. And now as we look at this year, this is where, we're like, okay, Bear Foundation members, you've had our back before. You guys are amazing. This is where we're really going to need our Bear Foundation members. The experience that you get as being a season ticket holder and a Bear Foundation member has drastically changed, and we totally own that and recognize that, and we're saddened by that. You know, we love our fans, we love game day, and you know, our Bear Foundation members right now are still continuing to answer the bell for what we're casting as a vision for year-end giving and heading into the spring months. And so we've got a lot of work to do in front of us, but just the way that last year finished up gives us a lot of hope, you know, that we're gonna get through this year. We're gonna be just fine.
When it comes to value and great customer service, you can count on us. Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. As a Customer First Award of Excellence winner, our customers always receive exceptional service, and during the Big Finish event, you save thousands on every car, truck, and SUV. Plus, most vehicles feature 0% financing. The Big Finish event. Now at your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
This is the Sikkim Podcast, presented by your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Online at alansamuelsdcj.com.
You're listening to the Sikkim Podcast. Brooke Bednarz, the voice of the Bears, John Morris, and Associate AD for Resource Development, Cody Gougler. Cody, you know, we just talked a little bit about the success of last year, what the Bear Foundation has done for our student athletes despite the pandemic. You guys got to give back to them a little while ago, maybe a couple of weeks at this point, with a Donor Appreciation Week. What was that week like, and why was it so important for you guys to do so?
Well, that reminds me, before we get into that, I did, for last week was Donor Appreciation Week.
Oh, last week.
And yesterday was Giving Tuesday.
Yes.
So in light of all of those things, I actually brought each of you
Oh, look,
Oh,
Brooke.
my
a gift.
goodness. Thank you so much.
a clear stadium tote with all kinds of Bear Foundation
Fantastic.
related items in
Oh,
I
we'll
love
advertise
it.
for you.
Yes.
Nobody's ever brought us gifts before.
No, this is
in
a
the history
first.
of the Sikkim podcast.
The history of the
Nobody's
Sikkim
brought us
podcast.
gifts. Thank you, Cody.
Thank you.
Appreciate
That's
that.
wonderful.
And I will kindly suggest or ask that you just remember that if you haven't completed your Bear Foundation pledge yet.
Very fair. Yes,
That's
yes,
fair.
very fair.
But Donor Appreciation Week. Donor Appreciation Week. That was something that we decided. Really, it wasn't intended to be last minute, but this has just really been a crazy year with tickets and 25% capacity. And how are we going to do basketball season? And you look up, and here we are, and it was November, and we hadn't. Normally, we like to do something for our Donor Appreciation Week surrounding, you know, a big football game, so we just decided, hey, let's do something virtual. Let's try it out. We gave away over 350 gifts. We're still collecting orders for those that won as part of the gift suite. And it was just it was a good time for us to pause and realize that these are people who work hard, who have families, who through challenging times that they may be experiencing are still buying into our vision. And even if it's as simple as a text message with a video or an email or a letter that they got in the mail or a Chrome card decal that they ultimately won in a gift suite, we just want them to know in the smallest fashion that we could possibly tell them that just how much we really appreciate them. And hopefully that goes a long way with just showing our members that while we're a big time, you could compare us to being just like a big business setting at this level in college athletics, that we want our Bear Foundation members to understand that Baylor, we want to be unique and different, and we want to treat our members and treat our student athletes and just treat the entire Baylor family like it is family. And so hopefully the week ended well as far as everyone just feeling good about supporting Baylor athletics.
Well, it's great. I mean, it's great to have the Donor Appreciation Week, and like Brooke said earlier, we can't say thank you enough to the Bear Foundation members. And then Giving Tuesday was this week, and now we're into, as we turn the calendar to December, now we're into the 12 days of Christmas giving. This is really cool what you've rolled out. Tell us about that.
I was going to sing y'all the 12 days of Christmas giving song. That
is there a version of that? Yeah.
But I don't know if we have enough time for that.
We'll make time for
that. I was
that.
about to say, it's a podcast. Don't twist our arm.
I think we're just trying really hard to, through just a challenging year, to also just sort of let our hair down a little bit and have some fun with our Bear Foundation members. And, the Christmas season is such a special season, especially for a place like Baylor who totally embraces that. And so, yes, there's a need that we have within the Bear Foundation, and we've created this fun little marketing campaign around it to generate and encourage our members to make contributions on their pledges for this year or next year. But we're also going to have a gift suite available again. It was sort of we didn't know how it was going to go for Donor Appreciation Week, but there was over almost 2,000 requests.
Oh, wow, really?
Mm-hmm. So, hey, let's do it again. Let's do it again for 12 days of Christmas. And, we're giving away our Bear Foundation suite for the Oklahoma State game. And I don't have the list in front of me, but there are some really cool gifts as part of the gift suite. As far as, excuse me, tickets, on Champions Row, which is it's the 2020 version of Champions Row for men's and women's basketball. Really neat apparel items. Photo opportunities for families in McLean Stadium whenever we're allowed to do that again, and all that information's on our Bear Foundation website. But really, we'll see how it goes. We want our Bear Foundation members to have fun with it. It's a good opportunity for us to sort of slide in that reminder in a very respectful way that we do still need you, and this is a very critical time of the year for us to generate Bear Foundation support as part of year-end giving. So. We'll see how this finishes up, and ultimately we'll finish it up next weekend with an announcement at McLean Stadium while we're playing Oklahoma State to sort of celebrate just the
nice tease,
the 12 days.
Yeah, very good.
That was good.
All right.
There's also some other things in there that there's I don't know, this really big exciting basketball game this weekend.
That's
and
right.
things like that. So plenty of things if you go to the Bear Foundation website that are all included there for you guys to check out.
That's a really good reminder. We are having a socially distant watch party in partnership with the Baylor Club on Saturday at noon for Baylor men's basketball versus Gonzaga. That's a nationally televised game, I believe on CBS. So we know that there's going to be an opportunity for our Bear Foundation members to watch that from home or watch it from their smartphones or tablets, but we also know that there's a lot of members that love fellowship and love being together. So we're going to open up the Baylor Club, and we'll invite as many that want to come, up to 300 people. And there will be a meal included for registration to include water, tea, and coffee. I'm not sure what the meal is just yet. Mike Mosel's working those details out at the Baylor Club, but all indications are that it'll be a great meal.
Yeah, if Mike has anything to do with it, it'll be good.
I was about to say it's tasty.
It'll be first class. Well, that sounds like fun, the 12 Days of Giving from the Bear Foundation. We've also seen the digital gift guide that's on our website, BaylorBears.com. Tell us about that as folks are maybe in the holiday mood, holiday spirit, buying spirit. If Black Friday's behind us, Cyber Monday is behind us. But, hey, if you're thinking about Christmas, we've got some ideas for you.
If you're a Baylor fan and you follow us on Twitter or Facebook or are a Bear Foundation member and you get our emails, we have not been shy about saying, hey, here's how you can be involved with Baylor athletics during the holidays. Courtney Scrivano, our associate AD for marketing and fan engagement, and her team, again, just like the Bear Foundation, we were trying to think of a fun and unique way for our members to just enjoy the Christmas season with us. And she did an amazing job with her team putting together this holiday gift guide. And, it's very similar to what you would see with like an Amazon gift guide or things that you'd be used to getting around this time of the year. It looks really neat. And, from from going in and seeing what's available in the bookstore to other neat apparel items, from the college vault that we just launched with Sailor
really
Bear,
cool.
all the way to giving a gift to someone, like season tickets. 2021 season tickets are available online right now on BaylorBears.com, and as part of the holiday gift guide, you could actually go online and purchase season tickets for someone, and we have a process set up where we will give you a gift certificate pretty quickly, within 24 to 48 hours, so that you can put that under the tree or put it on the tree or put it in a stocking for someone as a really neat Christmas gift. And so again, all the credit goes to Courtney and her team. It's a really special deal that I think, just by feedback that we've received so far, just by the amount of people that have viewed this guide, or the impressions that we've had online, I think a lot of people are extremely interested.
Well, one thing to note too, obviously our teams are very successful. They're a lot of fun to watch. But my family was able to visit me for Thanksgiving, and so they were able to go. We were part of the 25% fans allowed at the Farrell Center for the women's basketball season opener. And my dad just looked over at me in the middle of that game and goes, "We're wearing our masks, very socially distant. The cheerleaders are in the stands, a little ways away from us." And he goes, "We're going to remember this game." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "We're going to remember this game because this is a pandemic." Right. And we remembered when games weren't happening. We couldn't watch them on TV. And then to be able to, we sat in an arena when there was only 25% people here, what it looked like, John and everybody at the very top of the arena, calling the games, and just the different atmosphere. And so while it might look different, it's still a memory, and it's history in itself for you to be able to be at these games, because we look back at footage of old games and it does not look the same. So that's another little thing. If you haven't been to a game, maybe be a part of history and what it looks like to be a part of the 25% crowd at any of our venues. I actually had a very similar experience, Brooke, at our football game this weekend. Basically, the way I would point it is we will have our moment again. We're going to get through this. We're just going to have to be patient. And I remember back in 2017 or 2018, I was having a conversation with Mac. I think it was at a volleyball game, and we had just maybe went through the challenging football season that we did in 2017, and there was a lot of things going on. It was just a challenging time. And I just told Mac, like, "Hey, I just want us to have our moment." And he was like, "We will." And I'll never forget last year whenever we were playing Oklahoma College game day in McLean Stadium. That was the game I was referencing. All the people.
And we had our moment, and that was really neat to be a part of that. And the reason why I say that is that the game on Saturday, I was walking around showing various parts of the stadium to one of our new staff members, Deron Brown, and just trying to explain different things to him. And he made a comment of like, "Oh, man, this is just really different." He's a former Division I college football player at Troy, so he knows what it's like to play in a big-time atmosphere. And I remember saying, "Hey, Deron, don't worry, man. We're going to have our moment again." And so that's pretty cool that you bring that up.
Boy, that's great. And that is those moments, those opportunities, those events is why you do what you do, right? I mean, not speaking for you, but what you do for our student athletes and then for our fans. I mean, the Bear Foundation helps people experience these moments at the very highest level that they can.
It really, for me, being vulnerable and honest, I love what I do. As I grow and mature and get older and have more time in this part of the industry, you start to appreciate the work that you do as far as how it's impacting lives. You see examples, especially here at Baylor, of a student athlete. There's a specific student athlete with our, and I'll just say one of our basketball programs, who I was able to witness just over time get to a point to where this student athlete was baptized and accepted Christ into their heart, and that's just really neat. And that's a moment, and that's a Baylor moment. But as far as and I love those things, and I'm starting to appreciate what I do on a daily basis to impact that. But I love sports. I'm just wired for game day. And so I love those moments. I love that 30 seconds, the official starts the play clock, it's 4th and goal, it's raining outside, and there's 50,000 people in the stadium, and it's go time. Like, I love those moments. And so you live for them. And they only come, once every year or so. You get lucky, and, for us here at Baylor, all of our sport programs are doing well. So you have a lot of these moments. And so I think whenever you are going through what we are going through this year, you have faith and hope that you're going to get back to a moment like that.
Well, and then speaking, John, you touched on, what it means for all of our fans to be able to enjoy the game day at the highest level. And in 2020, that looks different, but nonetheless, the highest level that we can get to right now. But you're a former student athlete. And so can you talk on the perspective of, what these types of donations do for you as a student athlete? Obviously, we don't have one of our own to talk about it right now and what it means to them, but from your perspective.
Bear Foundation memberships, Bear Foundation memberships ultimately are the conduit for a student athlete to come here and have a scholarship, an academic scholarship to go pursue academics and pursue their dreams in that area. It covers that part of it.
Which, as we spoke last week, we know that they're very successful in.
Yes, only a 94% GSR, whatever. Marcus needs to do better.
Yeah.
If he would stop spending all of his time on all these podcasts and actually get to work, we could get that to like 98%.
If you haven't heard Marcus Sidbury, go back and listen to the podcast.
You should go back and
last
listen.
week. Yes.
Really, that's the conduit and how we cast the vision. But as a former student athlete, there's so much to the experience of, the scholarship is what you are offered, and that's what brings you here. Just the character formation, I would say, just the personal development of being a student athlete, the discipline, the lifelong friendships, the things that you learn to overcome adversity. Those are the things that I wish we could just have a camera and our Bear Foundation members could just see a student athlete like 24 hours a day for 4 straight years. I'd be like, wow, what an amazing experience that student athlete had, and a life-changing experience. And I would just say, looking back at my time at Southeastern, man, there are just so many things within our baseball program that didn't have to do with wins and losses that I probably subconsciously have benefited from on a daily basis every single day, as far as just trying to be a better person, trying to make good decisions, overcoming adversity, working hard, all those things. And I know that's times 1,000 here with the resources that we have for our student athletes at Baylor.
Well, so if anyone is listening and they're not already a Bear Foundation member and they want to be a part of that and giving that those opportunities to a student athlete here, what's the best way to do that? Is it in the 12 days of giving, or how should they go about that?
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways. The easiest way would be to go to BaylorBearFoundation.com and click our United for 10 image on the front page. United for 10 is a campaign in conjunction with the university's Give Light campaign. Excuse me. In conjunction with the university's Give Light campaign that we launched last September to try for 10,000 Bear Foundation members over time. This year we're very close to 7,000. We started at 6,000. So United for 10 is where they go on our Bear Foundation page, and it's a very simple process. You don't have to do a ton of red tape work to put in all your information. It really is just sign up for as little as $25. We know a lot of our prospective members are interested in season tickets, and so we've made it very easy for someone to just go to BaylorBears.com, go to football season tickets, and you can actually look at what is available for 2021 right now for our schedule next year. And you can actually buy season tickets, and within that transaction, take care of your Bear Foundation membership all in one. So those are the two main ways. It just really depends on whether or not you want season tickets.
Great. BaylorBearFoundation.com, BaylorBears.com. Check out BaylorBears.com/gift guide, Baylor.edu/Christmas. There's a lot of things there. So we just want to help people here in the holiday season. We want to help you with your shopping and some great gift ideas like season tickets, like you said, or maybe even you could gift a Bear Foundation membership to someone. What a great gift that would be.
That's right. And you know what? If you do it, I may have a few extra
of these
goodie bags that I've given y'all today.
All right, you heard it here first.
You did.
Well, happy holidays to you and the 12 days of giving for the Bear Foundation. That's a lot of fun, and we're in the midst of that now. And we appreciate you being with us today. Thanks very much.
Thank y'all both very much. It was a pleasure, and appreciate all the hard work that you do for our student athletes, and really hope that you each have a wonderful holiday season and a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for the goodie bags also.
Yes, thank
You're
you.
welcome. Merry Christmas.
Cody Gougler with us, Associate AD for Resource Development. That is this week's Sikkim podcast. For Brooke Bednarz and Cody, I'm John Morris. We'll talk to you next week with another edition of the Sikkim Podcast.
You've been listening to the Sikkim Podcast, presented by your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Online at alansamuelsdcj.com. The Sikkim Podcast has been a production of Baylor Athletics.